It's time for another edition of Inside Saluki Athletics presented by Northwind Roofing and Exteriors. Experience the Northwind Roofing and Exteriors difference where your home's exterior is our priority. Welcome back here into the Wells Production Studio, everybody. Alongside the head coach of Saluki basketball, Scott Nagy. I am Luke Martin. We'll have Davion Sykes coming up on the show today as well. Senior night for the Salukis on Wednesday night. It's hard to believe that there's only one guaranteed home game left for the Dogs. A year goes by in a blink of an eye, and here to talk about it. And, of course, the most recent road swing and a sweep for the Dogs, beating Drake and UNI on the road, is head coach Scott Nagy. Coach, congratulations on a great week in the state of Iowa. And, man, it is hard to believe, right, when you get to this time as a coach, and you're like, wow, last home game of the year here on Wednesday.
Yeah, for everybody, it goes by fast, and these seniors now, I mean, they just can't believe it's their last college home game, and that's why I always tell our guys, you don't want to waste one because it's over in a hurry.
And not even just wasting one in terms of a game, but it's maybe hard to reinforce that message at times way back, even in the summer when you guys are going through practices. Now, as that calendar really dwindles down, Coach Nagy, how much more do you really see that, especially with your seniors? And a lot of your seniors are playing well.
Well, you're right. I mean, and that's why I say every workout, whether you're a freshman, a redshirt freshman, whatever, even for guys like that. I mean, you look at Jaheim, and now he's already through his second year, and it feels like he just started here. And those next three will go by, and whether it's a game or a practice, whatever it is, you want to be characterized by just giving everything you have, and not saying, "Oh, I'll wait till the game. I'll do." One, if you wait till the game, you probably won't play for us because if you're not doing it in practice, it's going to be hard to be in a game. But I just continually tell our guys just how fortunate they are, and it's hard to remember that because they feel a lot of pressure, and they want to win, they want it to be a good experience, but there is often this feeling of duty versus I get to. Are you kidding me? There's so few people, and you don't just want to beat them over the head with that, but it is a matter of fact that there are so few people that get to do what they do, and I want them to have a thankful heart and a grateful heart, and I think they'll be a better player if they do.
Before we talk about just your seniors that you'll honor on Wednesday, and we'll, of course, talk about the most recent week in Iowa, kind of want to take it as a whole. And one of the things that stood out to me is I was just kind of updating my stats and going through everything with your team this year. 5 top 100 Ken Palm wins this year for your group. UNI was the fourth on the road. Look at the last 5 years combined for Saluki basketball, 5. You have as many top 100 Ken Palm wins this year as the program has had as a whole in the last 5 years combined. And I know it's you guys still in terms of where you're looking at your conference rankings, not where you want it, but man, Coach Nate, you guys have won some good games this year against good teams on the road.
And it's been my point all year. You look at our record, and people are frustrated. We're frustrated by it, but this program has taken huge steps, and not a lot of people are talking about that. I mean, we're one of the best defensive teams in the country. We have just, it's frustrating that it hasn't shown up in the conference record or in our schedule. Not only out league, but in league. We played nobody wants our schedule. And they even talked about it at the AD meetings. They said nobody wants the SIU schedule. We were the one, out of the 11, 10 got a pretty favorable schedule, and we got it put to us. And so, you still got to play all the games. But the fact of the matter is we are so much farther along than we were last year. And to a lot of people, it doesn't feel like it, but we know because the numbers say it.
Look, and as you said, the schedule from that standpoint has been really hard to navigate. Really appreciate Indiana State being willing to move this game this week to Wednesday, because originally you guys, as we record this here on Monday, comes out on Tuesday, you guys were supposed to play this game on Tuesday.
Yeah. And this was basically going to be our last game until and we were fortunate enough to be able to get the Evansville game moved to Sunday so that we don't have such a long break. But yeah, we were going to have the game on Tuesday and then not play till next Thursday or Friday, and that's just a long break, and nobody else would want that. And so, It hasn't been an easy schedule all year, but there's no time to cry about those things now. I mean, we've got ourselves in a good position. We're playing well at the right time. But you got to continue doing that. You can't let off the gas right now.
I don't think your group, I would have ever described them this year, Coach Nagy, as moping in terms of using the schedule as an excuse. I think your guys and your players did an outstanding job of that. But now, as you're really starting to see the wins come, can you really tell that, hey, no one's worried about, you're on the road for a week, the schedule, the schedule. It's like, hey, it's just, hey, it's the next game, next opportunity.
I mean, let's face it, we've been better on the road than we have at home. It's the home games where I think the guys feel the pressure, and I think that's part of why people feel like we just haven't done as well, because we've not been a good home team, really, the last 2 years, and it is a source of frustration for all of us. And so, our guys relax way better on the road than they do at home.
Well, and let's talk about just the most recent road swing, and we'll start with Northern Iowa, the most recent one. I mean, your defense has been playing at an elite level, and all the numbers we talk about in our pregame show, all of our conversations throughout the year, it's the best in terms of defensive efficiency in the league and league-only games this year. Continue to make that stride after Northern Iowa, and in a game where some costly turnovers down the stretch. You needed stops. You needed the ultimate stop to win the game. Your group got the ultimate stop to win the game.
Yeah, and if we take care of the ball, because we shot such a good percentage, and really force UNI to have to play differently than what they're used to, which forced us, they really started to pressure, and we just didn't take very good care of the ball. 18 turnovers. We should have handled that game a lot easier than we did, but we were able to get the big stop.
And the big stop, and we were talking about, I think, in the restaurant afterwards and on our way back, UNI, the way they defended you guys down the stretch is stuff they haven't shown in a long time. And even Coach Watson was saying, man, I haven't seen him do the triangle and two or whatever they were doing defensively down the stretch since Coach McDermott was at Northern Iowa.
Yeah, and we did. It just take care of the ball.
Yeah.
That's just all we have to do. Our offense is in a way better spot than it was. We just but 61 possessions in the game, we don't get 1 point per because of 18 turnovers.
Yeah, there's been so many as you've gone through these games, Coach, and trying to navigate and figure out the best pieces, the rotations, et cetera, as you enter Indiana State here on Wednesday. Where do you feel in terms of, I like where we're at in terms of, it's going to be different with who you play to an extent of when guys specifically come in, but liking the rotation that you guys have here as you head down the stretch.
Well, we're still trying to figure it out, and I think some of it is matchups and game to game, but we've actually been playing Max at some three now. We feel like that's probably his best position. He's such a good passer and a good defender, and he can guard anybody. And so I'm still toying with it. And it's like I say, it's game to game. There's no like we're set on this pattern. Mayo's been in foul trouble in almost every game. We need him to stay out of foul trouble, and that will kind of help us with our rotations.
Again, it's been such a common point throughout all the games that we've had this year, and especially recently, Calron is just, to say that he keeps rising and raising his performance level is hard to believe because it seems it's always been at a high level this year. But I even said throughout the broadcast, whenever we played on Saturday, the days all run together for me. I have to remind myself that he's still a sophomore.
Yeah.
Because there's just a lot of pressure, whether it's self-imposed. I know he has high expectations for himself, obviously for us in the program with them too. Like, to me, how often do you kind of have to remind yourself too, Coach? Like, man, like he's still only a sophomore. I mean, there is a lot of basketball in front of him.
Well, you look at the whole sophomore class. Rollins is a sophomore.
Yeah.
Drew's a sophomore. We start three sophomores. And obviously in college basketball is they're playing well, but can you keep them in the program? And Max is a sophomore, so that sophomore class is pretty strong. And I mean we lean pretty heavily on him. Everybody knows it. They're all trying different things to try to get him stopped. But it's I mean. You and I put Bond on him, a much bigger defender, and we knew that they would. And he still, I mean, he can get his shot off on anybody.
One of the areas that we kind of talked with you briefly after Drake and then, Northern Iowa, Rollins was just on such a tear. And when you go on a tear that you're going to go up on that scouting report. And you say, hey, there's obviously areas where Rollins can self-improve too. What are areas, again, a young guy, still a sophomore, but man, Rollins has made so many strides this year. How can he keep making strides for you here down the stretch?
Well, I think he feels like when he shoots well, he plays well. And the fact of the matter is, he scored 8 points this whole weekend, and we won both games.
Yeah.
And so we don't need him to score a bunch of points. It's great if he does. And we've won some games because he shot the ball well. There's no question. The UNI game here, he shot the ball very
Yeah.
well and kept us in it. And so I just never want any of our players to feel like I have to score in order for our team to do well. I want them to do the other things: guard, rebound, do all the tough stuff, and the offense should just happen. And so I think after the Drake game, he felt like he didn't play very well, and he didn't. I would say in terms of there were other things he didn't shoot the ball well, but there were other things that he didn't do well, and I thought he played much better in the UNI game. But I think some other guys are starting to score now, and we we even saw evidence of it on ball screens and things like that because they're worried about Rollins picking and popping, and so we're getting some other things from it, and it doesn't necessarily show up in his stats.
What do you continue to see from Jaheim Weber when you rewatch games, when you go through film? Like, there may not be things that, and when I say we, as in broadcasters, as fans that watch the game, that where our eyes kind of always go to the ball. What are things that he's doing? The ball's in his hands, he's doing really well, but even maybe things that aren't noticed a ton when he's.
Yeah, well, he doesn't have the ball in his hands a lot, but he just takes up so much space, and we got a couple layups against UNI because he's ducking his guy, and his guy can't help. And so, Q turns the corner, shoots a layup, and really he should get an assist because he's just taking up space in there, and he's been a good offensive rebounder for us, and he's really a good rim protector. We talked about the play late in the Drake game where Quinn came off and had a wide open layup, and Jaheim challenged it, didn't block it, but made him miss it. And there are no stats for that, but of all of our bigs, he's the one that protects the rim the best.
You are the guy that always looks at the positives. That's kind of your personality,
That's
right, Coach Nagy?
Yeah.
Well, when you do look at your offense, I know it's been overwhelmingly frustration, but are you seeing improvement here in the last couple of weeks?
Well, if we would take care of the ball, yes.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter how well you're playing. If 18 turnovers, it's amazing that we won the game. You're playing against UNI, who leads the country in the least amount of turnovers per game. And fortunately, we forced them into 14, or that would have been a big story in terms of the game. Would have been our 18 turnovers. Nobody talks about that, but here we are this far into the season. And you're talking about it has to get cleaned up. It just needs to be way better. It does. Our offense is playing better if we would take care of the ball.
How much, when you go back and watch, are forced into them, unforced? Like, where would you put that, like, percentage of, a lot of it in your control?
Yeah. I think they're almost all of them are in your control. Yeah. That's the way I look at it. And, we got usually when guys are trying to be careful, like you look late in the game and they were trapping us and we're not trying to make plays. We got a couple travels there because we're trying to be careful. I don't like that. But I think most of them are in your control. If we're going to have one, I'd rather it be because they're aggressive and not careful.
Well, talking about aggressive, that's really been your defense. And one of the areas that's really just so impressive to me is when you look at your defensive efficiency, your adjusted defensive efficiency, it's the highest that SAU has been rated in terms of adjusted defense since they made the NIT in 2008 under Chris Lowry, 25th in the country that year, currently 32nd, according to KenPom as we record this today. Outside of just, when we talk to every coach, even opposing players on our podcast, when we get ready for each game, Coach Nagy, they always say physicality is what they bring up with your group. Outside of just pure physicality, what have you really enjoyed about watching your group on defense?
Well, they early when we would switch defenses, whether we were switching man-to-man or if it was zone, whatever it was, we would end up with confusion. Like, were we supposed to switch? Or we're to the point now where we have a really good feel for being able to switch a defense and our guys get right to it and not make a mistake as to whether or not we were switching or not switching or how we were guarding the ball screen, all those kind of things. And the Hawks done a great job with the guys with we've just gotten better as the season gone along, not only defensively, but offensively. Like we went back and watched a film and just look at our set plays and how we executed so much better this past weekend and got some good shots off it. But we're also doing the same thing defensively where we're not making the mistakes and the guys going, my bad, I forgot we were in this defense.
Yeah.
No more my bads we talk about. We don't want to have a my bad because we know when we're saying that we've either fouled or we've given up a bucket. And so our guys are just doing a way better job. I have a way better understanding of what we're in, and Hawk's done a good job of keeping teams off balance with that.
We talk about, of course, that win against Northern Iowa. You mentioned the turnovers, finding a way to win, and virtually without Damian Mayo for the majority of the game. I know this last week he was huge against Drake, still got in foul trouble within that game, foul trouble against Northern Iowa. What are the biggest takeaways for a guy like him just over the last week of knowing the importance and trying to be a little bit more smarter about where maybe he picks up his fouls?
Yeah, and in the Drake game, he got the technical foul,
Yeah.
which counts as a personal foul. And now all of a sudden, any other little ticky-tack foul seems huge, and it was in that game because he was such a big offensive force for us. But we need him, we need him on the floor more.
Yeah.
And, most of his fouls aren't like terrible fouls. I mean, he just is very aggressive. He's very physical. And we just got to keep him from reaching.
5 seniors on your roster, Coach, and senior night. And when we talk about the historical context of senior nights, I know it's changed a lot through the years of guys that would be in your program for 3, 4, 5 years compared to really nowadays. But man, even when you look at your seniors this year, we just talked about Damian. I mean, I can ask you what he's meant to you, and I already know that because of how important he's been to this program in your 2 years. Prince, the other, Davion, Jorge, and Isaiah are all your 5 seniors on your roster this year. Just when it does get to this night, even though it may not be, as I said, described as what it's been in years past, but I know especially for multiple of these guys who have been here for the 2 years you've been here, those guys mean the world to you in trying to help get this thing flipped.
Yeah, and I hate that about college basketball now, where there's not a better connection. But it just is kind of the way it is, and you have to accept it. But yeah, 3 of these guys I've been with a little over a year and a half, and the other 2, Isaiah and Prince, I've been with probably 8 months, and so it is a lot different. But still, you get close to them. You want them to have a great experience. You can't control all that. I would say for all 5 of them, college basketball hasn't just been a bed of roses. None of them have really been on a team that has just won really, really big. Now, Jorge was a redshirt freshman at New Mexico State, I think, when they went to the NCAA tournament. But other than that, these 5 guys have not been on a team that has won big. And, some of them haven't gotten to play as much as they would like to, all those kind of things. And so I don't have control over every aspect of whether or not they have a good experience. We do want our culture. We want them to look forward to coming to work every day.
Yeah.
But again, I can't control all of that either. So, some of the things we can help give a good experience. Some of it we have no control over. And quite frankly, it's more up to them than it is anybody else and how they look at it and their gratefulness and all those things. But it's still a group this year that has really helped our program grow.
Well, and I get it, when you talk about NIL and the components and getting more into the professional basketball mode, that's you can kind of forget, or fans can really forget. I don't, because when you're around these guys each and every day, you really get to see that they are really still kids at heart and how young they are. And
you heard them on the bus last night. I mean, we do have. It is a very close group. I mean,
Yes.
It really is, and I don't say that. I've had teams that aren't that close, but this group is incredibly close and really enjoy each other. It's been, I think, for me, a lot of fun this year to watch them.
And, to further that point, when you look at Damian gets engaged this year, Jorge, same, I believe Seahawk, another. I know he's not part of the senior class, but it's like, I know everybody wants to just win every game you play, but I'm telling you, like the guys you get to see each and every day behind the scenes, talking to them, these really are good dudes, Coach Nagy. And I just, for our fans, it's a great opportunity for them to come and celebrate them here on Wednesday. And, we always say it too. And I remember even during COVID when fans were away and couldn't come to games, like, don't just take a game day for granted, even for them. These days are special, and any game day in this place is really special.
Yeah, and I hope they will. And and I've done this before where you kind of do the whole senior day after the game. And I think you run the risk of not winning the game and it being kind of a downer. You and I kind of dealt with that the other day. But there's also the factor of even if you did it and you didn't win, it's still an opportunity to celebrate these guys. And I hope that our fans will come and celebrate them and let them know how much they love them. We have some good things in store, and these guys are really, really, if our program continues to grow, we're going to look back on these guys and say they're the ones that came and helped us get it to where we wanted it.
Now, the part that I'm a little frustrated with you by is that when you talked about your guys singing on the bus, that you didn't mention this part that you joined in with them,
I don't know.
Because they were singing your type of tunes on the back of the bus.
All the ones they were singing, I had never heard those songs before, but and we were saying up front, it's like you can't get these guys to talk on defense, but they're all running their mouth back there, and they can't remember a set, but they can remember every word to this song and that song, and but yeah, it's fun for us as coaches to see them, have some because it's been a tough year. It has been in terms of that, and just so many close losses and tough losses, but just to see them. Get to enjoy one. And of course we had to wait 3.5 hours for the plane, but still, the guys were in a great mood because of that.
Well, and it's why we keep trying to relay it and say it to the fans as well. These dudes really enjoy being around each other. And if they really enjoy being around each other, there's still a lot that can be accomplished here down the stretch, Coach.
Yeah, and they're starting to believe that, which, again, we talked about that. There's the knowing and then there's the believing, and you can see the belief starting to grow in them.
Let's end on Indiana State. Saw the Sycamores already once. Coach Graves' team just coming off the loss over this weekend to Belmont. They did get Derek Vorse back, which that was a huge, I think, a factor in our game when we were there. Again, this is a Sycamore team that runs really good offense. They can be extremely hard to guard.
Yeah, they lead the league in assists, and they really move the ball well. And a guy that's leading them in scoring, Ian Scott, they don't run anything for him. Now, I should say that very few, but he makes all of them better. He just such a skilled four-man and just knows how to play, knows how to move without the basketball, knows how to screen, when to slip, when to set it. He's good around the rim, and he makes everybody else on the team better. And their point guard leads the league in assists. It just is, they really offensively are very sharp.
It's always a tough out in regards to who you're playing in our league each and every night. And there'll be another one here on Wednesday for the final time in Banterra Center this year. Coach, appreciate the time, and we'll catch up with you on Wednesday.
All right.
Once again, that was head coach Scott Nagy. We'll take a timeout. When we come back, we'll be joined by Davion Sykes here on Inside Saluki Athletics, presented by Northwind Roofing and Exteriors. Our dedicated team brings precision, expertise to every project, ensuring your home not only looks its best, but is also well guarded against the elements. At Northwind Roofing and Exteriors, they specialize in enhancing and protecting the external elements of your home. Serving the communities of Williamson, Franklin, and Jackson counties, give them a call today at 618-713-1381. This is Inside Saluki Athletics, presented by Northwind Roofing and Exteriors. It is senior night on Wednesday, and one of the 5 seniors joins us here on Inside Saluki Athletics, Davion Sykes, to preview the senior night, and of course a great week on the road in Iowa, knocking off Drake and UNI. Davion, thanks for the time, man, and congratulations on a great week in Iowa, man. I'm sure that week had to feel good for you guys and the rest of the team.
Yeah, definitely, especially being in the hotel. It's always feel good. Eating with the team and staying with your teammates right after a game, especially after a dub.
Now, I will say, I was just talking with Coach Nagy, obviously here on the show, and we brought up you guys singing on the bus was very in tune, very loud. I was a little disappointed that you guys didn't try to get Coach Nagy involved in the singing or Coach Hawk, because I felt like you guys were really bringing up tunes that those guys listen to all the time.
Yeah, it was just a little sing along on the bus. And
Hey, you were singing along to it too. I was looking back casually, and you can kind of be a quiet guy, but I saw your mouth moving quite
Yeah,
a bit.
definitely was singing. We was having a great time. Just the vibes was high. Talking to the guys, joking around. Everybody just started singing. We was just going song for song.
I mean, I was seeing Mayo getting to the aisles and
Uh-huh.
dancing, and I'm like, man, like you shouldn't have fouled so much because you got too much energy,
Nah,
right now in the
facts.
game,
Yeah,
right?
nah,
Yeah.
definitely in the Jaheim had a little solo. So
Yes, big Heem, man. Man, you guys have been so much fun to be around, Davion, and it's I I do understand to an extent where there's a sentiment within the fans and et cetera that, and for you guys, even as players, like none of you right now are saying this is the record we should have,
mhm.
this is where we should be. You guys no doubt want to be a part of that log jam just above you, competing for a league title, all of that. It's understandable. But man, you guys have made a lot of strides this year. I mean, I was looking at this morning. I mean, 5 top 100 Ken Palm wins you guys have this year. That's as much and as many as this program has had as a whole the last 5 years combined.
Damn.
You guys have beaten really good teams on the road. 4 of those on the road, too,
Yeah.
mind you. Northern Iowa being the most recent one. We've always talked about how you guys enjoy being around each other. I know there's been so many close, just aggravating losses. But do you guys feel like you're starting to play your best and that there is a true belief now that you guys can pull off a really remarkable run here at the end?
Yeah, no, I mean, even from the beginning, I mean, I know the season, it definitely hasn't gone the way any of us, would have wanted fans, teammates, players, everybody, coaches. And the biggest shock to me that has been is that how close we are and how much, we're sticking through it as a team. Like, we're having conversations after a loss and we're like, bro, we still got this, bro. I still believe. And at the end of the day, I feel like every one of those guys that step on the floor still believe. I mean, the goal right now is to finish off strong, have momentum going into this tournament. But there's not one guy that does not believe. Um, and I mean, just the way we've had a season, it's like, it's kind of mind-boggling to think like, some guys shouldn't believe or, and I wouldn't put it past, if guys didn't, but everybody genuinely believes this year and everybody believes in each other. Everybody believes in the coach as a team. And I think that's still scary for, a lot of teams because we still believe, we're not checked out, even though we may be, one of the bottom seeds, we're not checked out yet until that last game. So.
I hope you understand my question of what I mean when I ask this to you, Davion. And it's yes, the aggravating losses, all that, all those things that we've talked about plenty of times, and don't need to dwell on it here with you. But has it been the closeness of this group and how you guys, and I know there's probably people that listen that could care less that they would think this way, that think this is just a talking point and saying, oh, you guys really like being around each other, blah, blah. Like everybody says that. And I've been a part of those teams that are like, this is a different group when it comes to that. Like you
Mhm.
guys genuinely love each other to be around each other and
Yeah.
spend so much time. Has that helped you guys ultimately get to the belief point you are now, where even though the results may not have been there early, it's the closeness of the group is the reason why you guys are still hanging around? That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Nah, definitely. Because I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like our whole team believes. And the reason why I feel that is because I'm having conversations with guys individually. We're going out to eat or we're in a car together or it's just us two in a locker room. So, I'm having all these individual conversations with all of my teammates at certain points of the day and everybody's still saying they believe. And when one-on-one conversation, you're gonna tell the truth, and there's no doubt in anybody's mind that we can't win this. So, I mean, just being able to have those conversations with those teammates, really, I mean, every single one of them, um, and just knowing that they believe and I believe, it just kind of, it brings the closeness on the court. It brings the camaraderie as a team to still believe that, we can do this.
When you guys are in a game, I mean, both games came down to the final possessions last week. And I can't remember the exact number on my head, but it feels like every game has been
Yeah.
like that in a way. But when you are on the road, you can feel the opposing crowd getting into the game as well. And that was no doubt a fact. It wasn't much of a factor in Des Moines, but it was a big factor in Cedar Falls. They had a great crowd and they were very engaged and all night long throughout. How did you guys still manage to ultimately get the stop you needed to? but also even when it feels like all the momentum in your world is starting to go out the window, yet you guys were able to really stick, grind it out, and get the ultimate stop you needed to win the game.
Yeah, nah, I mean, even though, it was a turning point, everything was just against us. Just even looking at my teammates, I didn't feel like we panicked at all. Granted,
Yeah.
they called two travels and they're coming down, scoring in a one-on-one isolated and whatever. But I honestly felt like my team, like we didn't panic. We all one turnover happened. They called the travel. We looked at each other. We're like one stop. The next one happened. We're like one stop. Like that's all we kept preaching to ourselves was just like, guys, we're still up. We just need one stop. We didn't panic. And ultimately, I think that's what it came down to is just that one possession that we needed, to win the game. But even just looking at those other four guys that I was on the floor with at the time, looking in their eyes, nobody had panic in them. No matter how it looked. I mean, it wasn't necessarily a pretty win, but none of those guys panicked, and I know I for sure didn't panic.
Davion, and you are spot on when you say that of not just even in the games of not panicking, but even throughout a season. And look, I've almost been doing this now for a decade in multiple different places, and there's always times where during a season, and you even see it with some seniors where maybe results aren't going the way like we've talked about it, and you clearly see a checkout, and it's like you feel for that individual. It's like, man, you don't want to wish these moments away because eventually and I'm telling you, there's so many of those guys now that will reach back out to me and they'll go, man, like I really miss it. I wish I would have given it a little bit more there. That's never been a question with you at all this year at any point. From early on when playing really well to in the middle of the year, trying to figure out the rotations, et cetera, as a team to even now. What do you credit for you of just whether it's mentally, what you focus on, that you were going to make sure that wasn't going to be your story? No matter what happened, you're like, I'm going to make sure that I'm locked in at all times. It's much easier. It's much easier to say to do that than what you've done, which is actually show it.
Yeah, nah, I mean, even from kind of the start of last year, maybe last spring, I've taken a lot of time to work on my mental health. Um, it's tough, being in a position, from transferring and then coming to a new school and then, not kind of getting what you want. There's a lot of, you go through a lot of mental stuff there. And, just kind of knowing who you are as a person helps. And taking the time to focus on yourself, taking the time to, do anything that, necessarily makes you happy and I mean, that's just what I did over the course of a long time, especially this past year and still doing it to this day, is just working on my mental health, being able to know that I could go into every game and do what I do best, do what I need to do for this team. And I feel like I've shown that this year, and obviously it wasn't perfect, but I mean, even throughout all the bad, I've still, never lost who I was.
You've always stayed the even keel guy too. You can say, like it's neat to see you in a game because like you can see the emotion and the tenacity that you play with, but yet as calm, cool, and collected as you are sitting here in our studio and in our interviews, like it really is who you are at all times. You still find a way to get that extra gear though in the games.
Nah, definitely. Just know my role. I know I have to bring energy, for the team, whether, that's yelling at somebody or whether that's going to try to get a dunk or
Or tell Drew that he actually did foul.
yeah, oh my gosh, man. Gotta stay on Drew at all points. But yeah, nah, I feel like I found a great way to, get my team going this year.
Let's go back to 2022, 2023 when you started at Texas State and this whole college journey started to now where you are here in Carbondale. If you had an opportunity to talk to Davion Sykes then when he was a young freshman, what would you tell him that you know now here as you enter into your final home game?
Man, on the spot.
Yes. I'm really good with that. I had to throw a couple at you here.
Yeah, nah. Telling Davion Sykes coming into college, I'll probably say just stay in the gym. Because there's gonna be ups and downs. Um, and you don't know where college is gonna take you. Especially, depending on the team that you're on, the coaching, the rotations, it's a lot of factors that play into it. But being able to stay in the gym, being able to stay and know who you are as a person, and stay true to yourself and just not give up. I would say that to Davion Sykes' fresh coming in as a freshman.
Now you've been a Saluki for 2 years. When I asked the question of what does being a Saluki mean to you, what's your answer?
Um, Being a Saluki, it's playing hard, and it's not playing hard just for yourself. It's playing hard for the people around you, for this town. Um, you got to know the history when you come here. I think that's a big part of being a Saluki is the history that guys have built before us, and try to keep that going in today. Um, and I mean, yeah, probably that is, yeah.
There's a lot of schools that I think do what we do, but what does it mean, Davion, when like even before games, when you guys are warming up, you see the kids stay in the corner before they end up ultimately coming around and high fiving the guys who start. But to know that when you're out in the community, people know who you are.
Hmm.
The connection that the fans have to this program, I do think is unique, especially for schools at our level. Not every school in our league, I can tell you that because I've worked at another one, has that same type of connection. What has that meant to be a part of a program for you and knowing, hey, when you walk outside of these halls, like you really enjoy getting the chance to meet fans because you get a lot of them that come up to you and talk to you when you're out and about.
Yeah, no, I mean, even transferring before Texas State and just hearing about it, they'll tell me like people gonna recognize you outside, and I'm like, nah, like okay, they just trying to
Yeah.
upsell, but nah, definitely. I mean, even going to Walmart, or like I'm just shopping, just doing regular things, and people come up to me, um, and we talk basketball, um, and they just let me know like almost everybody here is a season ticket holder. Everybody has ties to SIU. Being able to go on a road and you have like 50 people from SIU at almost anywhere. I mean, it's ridiculous. I've never seen anything like that, especially on the road. So, um, just knowing these fans are behind us at any point of time or anywhere, um, it means a lot because I mean, at the end of the day, I'm like I said, you're not playing for yourself. You're playing for them.
Look, senior days are a lot different than what they were, especially when I started, where the majority of the guys who would be in a senior class spent 4+ years together. But yes, it's not the case with you guys in terms of the five seniors with Zay, Jorge, Prince, Damian, and yourself. But how would you describe you guys as senior class? How close you guys are and what it's meant to play with each other, and especially with you, Damian and Jorge, you guys have spent 2 years together.
Nah, definitely. These are the guys that I'm probably gonna talk to. Definitely after college. I'm close with those guys. I mean, we got two guys that I'll be going to their weddings. That means a lot to be
Yeah.
be invited to somebody's wedding. Um, and as for like say staff and P, Prince, it's just those guys being able to talk to them, relate to them. Uh, it's almost like old head talk, being the old heads on the team, just telling each other about our journeys, kind of understand, the roles that we play, the roles that, we played at other schools and, our journey, is kind of all similar in a way for, us three and specifically. Um, but I mean, those guys, love those guys, man. I'm a forever continue to talk to those guys. They played a great role this year, especially in my life. So I'm very thankful for them.
Look, when you win at Drake, when you win at Northern Iowa, because it's been so darn long, it was pre-COVID pandemic since the last time this program won in each of those buildings. Fans know that's an impressive feat to do that. That alone gets them excited. I think you'll see many of them come to the game here on Wednesday. But just as a senior, Davion, and you talk about what this fan base has meant to you, this program has meant to you. What would it mean to see fans really come out to support you guys in the final home game here on Wednesday and really help spur you guys for what you hope is going to be a fun 2 week stretch that we talk about for years to come?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a lot of love in the air. When I see that, fan base, crowd, the kids, um, the OGs, the alum, everybody, it's a lot of love. And I know they're cheering for, us, the five guys that are on the floor at each time. I know they're here to watch us, and just being able, to put on a show, being able to win, um, especially because these guys been supporting everybody for years and years. So I just know it's a lot of love out there, and it's very well accepted.
Don't really mean to put you on the spot with this question, but so many fans are awesome and they're there, the game days, etc. But there is so much more that goes into this thing, Davion, than just the game days. Even going all the way back into the summer, from the people behind the scenes, whether it's a guy like Riley to Justin to Showtime, Brandon, Coach Shonek, to your managers, all the support staff pieces. Like, what has been special about that aspect of being a player in the program, of the people you interact with on a daily basis, and what they've meant to you in terms of making your 2 years here as memorable and as what you have described as 2 years that you've really enjoyed?
Yeah, no, that's funny because I was talking to Justin, the other day. I mean, not too long ago, maybe like 2, 3 weeks ago, and I said like the people that kind of make my day are the supporting cast, which would be honestly you, Riley, Justo, Coach Show. Um, like y'all bring a type of energy that because it's not coaching. I'm not getting harped on by y'all. And it's just a different type of love that y'all bring to us players, and it's very well very well received,
Yeah.
and I appreciate it because a lot of times I could get through the day just by talking to y'all. So
We appreciate you, man, and everything you've done. And just so you know, I'm going to rip your rear end here on Wednesday during the game. So you said you didn't want coaching, but now you're going to get coaching, man. Luke's going to coach you. All right.
Maybe we fine.
Yeah.
One day, that's fine.
No, but and obviously we know how much we appreciate you, man, everything you've done, but it's also really special when you do go to all these places and you really see how close knit a lot of families are.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, man, your family is so close knit. Seeing your mom, dad all the time. I know your siblings try their best to come as well when they get the opportunity, but they're the ones you've been with, man, from day one. The support you've seen from them, what it's meant to you, and just how special it is, that bond that you have with them. Because man, it's clear when you're out on the road and you spend time in hotels and you get to see your folks come, and like that. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely love them. Because last year, they were able to go see, both of my siblings, my brother and my sister, kind of for their last year. And so they made it a point to always go see them. And right now it's my last year.
Yeah.
And they're definitely showing up. And, it's just really appreciated, especially being, so far from home, seeing some familiar faces, having them, be able to, be on the road kind of anywhere. And right now, I mean, my sister's with me, so just being able to have her, be with me, after she's graduated. So, yeah, no, I mean, family's everything to me. I'm big on family, no matter what. And, I'm very thankful that, my family sticks together.
No doubt, man. You will be a Saluki for life and family for us with life as well. Davion, appreciate the time, man. Let's have a great senior night and let's make it 3 in a row here on Wednesday.
Let's do it.
Once again, that was Davion Sykes. Come out, support him on Wednesday night. Saluki Nation, support him. Yeah, just support him. The other guys, who cares less about the senior class? No, support them all on senior night on Wednesday. Again, tip-off will be at 7 o'clock inside Banterra with our pregame radio coverage starting at 6. We will take a timeout. When we come back, Larry Larson takes over, and he'll sit down with Kelly Bond White, head coach of Saluki women's basketball. This is Inside Saluki Athletics, presented by Northwind Roofing and Exteriors. They specialize in enhancing and protecting the external elements of your home, serving the communities of Williamson, Franklin, and Jackson counties. Give them a call today at 618-713-1381.
At Northwind Roofing and Exteriors, our dedicated team brings precision and expertise to every project, ensuring your home not only looks its best, but is also guarded against the elements. And we're now joined by head coach Kelly Bond White on Inside Saluki Athletics. Coach, obviously a tough weekend, two losses. Now it's three in a row on the heels of a really strong stretch. A little bit more removed from that, a few days. Big takeaways from the weekend once you got to watch the tape.
Oh man, it's our conference right now. It's just looking at the scoreboards and everything's wide open and flipped on its head sometimes. But you have a game where you go down and you compete and you have a chance to win the ball game. But just really uncharacteristic of us. Transition defense just really wasn't there in the last ball game. Didn't shoot the ball particularly well, but still managed to have a decent offensive output. But with a team like that, you can't give them 83 points on the board and so many of them not earned, whether it's off our mistakes or just a lack of getting back. I think that was the most frustrating thing away from the when you sit down and break down the film is the things that we could have controlled. And so you just get back to the drawing board of, okay, how do we reset? Which it was good. We had a day off on Sunday for the girls to rest their bodies and recover. But you just start off today in your staff meetings and the conversations we had on the phone as a staff over the weekend of getting back to and showing the girls what they have done during that span of playing well on both sides of the ball.
Well, I do think that's probably a little bit easier now that you have that tape where you can show them, hey, look, we won 5 out of 6 games playing like this. What are some of
Yeah.
those things that need to come back from that stretch?
I think the number one thing is just the intensity and intentionality of defense. When we have that plan of, hey, this is how we're going to handle screens, this is how we're going to handle flares, this is how we're going to handle transition, putting this many people back on the raise of the shot, knowing that they're going to struggle a little bit in the half court. So let's take what they do well away. I think you have to show them those things. I think you have to show them the intentionality of that. I think you have to show them the ball movement of good to great shots, of the timing on getting the ball into the post where we don't have to make a move. Those are the things that had improved during that stretch, just in terms of that. And then just the overall flow of the game of, hey, when you have the opportunity to run, you run. You don't walk the ball into offensive possessions. You don't walk the ball down the floor. You put pressure, on the defense with at the same time controlling tempo, of some things. But it really has to come back to that. You've had some games where you shot the ball incredibly well. And that's not always going to be the case, but there are still things where effort can determine, even if you're not shooting well, no reason why you're still not rebounding well. That's a choice, and we have to get back to that.
Talking about an individual player that kind of stuck out to me this weekend, and honestly, the last few games in terms of how she's capitalized scoring in some spots is TT Nelson.
Mhm.
In Valley Play, she's shooting up near 45%. Now, scoring, definitely not her foremost role, but she's kind of that opportunistic scorer. Can you take us inside the mentality that she needs to have to capitalize on those spots like she did
Yeah.
against Indiana State?
She has to be aggressive. She has to be aggressive in understanding. When we always tell them when you see somebody backpedaling, you attack the backpedal because they can't stop the ball in that order. And just getting her in that mindset of sometimes she's coming down the court trying to be an extension of me. And I don't want you calling stuff all the time. I want you attacking. Then when it's not there, bring it out. And that's when I think she's at her strength. She's one of the quickest kids in the league. She can shift gears and get into the rim. She's done a much better job of being on balance this year with some of her finishing in there. And then she's been patient of when the ball goes away from her, screening away, coming back after she sets that screen. Now I'm in a position to get downhill into my iron. And so that's when TT's at her best, when she's not tentative.
Looking ahead to this week before we jump into the opponents, Illinois State on the road, Drake at home, two tough matchups there. But one thing that, we always come back to in our pre-games is, taking the name off the front of the opponent's jersey and just playing.
Yeah.
That's got to be somewhat of a difficult process with young athletes and young ladies, especially knowing the landscape of this conference. Are there things that you do to remind the team, hey, we just got to play our game, or is there a process for that?
Yeah, you show them the other team's warts. You definitely, a lot of times when you're in film, with my coaches, sometimes you can have highlight reels of the other team, and that's good too because you want to know what they're capable of doing. But sometimes you got to see their warts just as well because as head coaches, that's what we're focused on. A lot of times we're focused on the things we have to improve with, and so when you show them that, okay, look, guys. They don't get back either. They're not getting back on defense. They're running to a spot. They're not boxing out. When you freeze the film and you show them four out of five people not boxing out, go to the rim. That's why we're telling you, those things. I think when you show that, it humanizes it. It shows that, guys, from first place to last place, we're all battling some of the same things that we're trying to correct and that we're trying to sharpen. So I think when you show them that, it makes it like, oh, okay, well, she puts on her socks just like me. Let's go compete. And that's what I think we've really embraced.
First matchup of the week, Illinois State on the road. That's a building that has been difficult for us to play in the last few years. It's been a building that's difficult for everybody to play in this year.
Yeah.
They still haven't lost at home, if I'm not mistaken. Just beat Belmont, or they did lose at home to Murray State the other day. It's their first home loss. But what makes that building particularly difficult?
Well, I don't know if it's just that building. I just think it's the road in the Missouri Valley. And what I've told our kids from whether we were going to play at Murray, who always has a great crowd, or not, people are going to play better at home. People are going to be more comfortable at home. And for us, quite honestly, we've played some of our best games on the road. So you just go in, you're away from everything. It's just you and the team. And you just got to lock in with that focus. And our kids don't know that record. That's the beautiful part about being players. They have no idea that Illinois State hasn't lost at home, or they don't pay attention to that kind of stuff. They probably don't know rankings or anything like that. And I love the ignorance of that because that's where the comment comes from. It's bliss. So we don't spend a lot of time talking about that stuff. We just spend a lot of time talking about, hey, this is what we need to do. We know what the numbers were the last time we played them. You got to throw that out completely. And it's a completely new game. But you go in and you look for areas like, hey, look at the flow. Look what the flow we had with this. This is what we're trying to replicate. Hey, look at these areas where they necessarily did knock down shots in this game, but look at the areas where they did have open looks that they just didn't complete. Those are the things we got to tighten up a little bit.
I mean, obviously, it was a lopsided win, a resounding win at home. Like you said, you just know that realistically, it's probably not going to be like that when you're on the road. What are a handful of those things that you'd like to see carried over from that win just a few weeks ago, arguably your best of the season?
Yeah, I think one of the things you limited them. You took away their fast break. You limited them, in the paint. They still got some paint points, but you limited them in the paint, and you really controlled the boards. You took away second chance opportunities, which is big with that because I think they have one of the better front lines, in the league, and so you were really intentional on the box outs and limiting them. And like you said, the thing that you want to carry over is, I mean, let us shoot 47% again from the field, 60 from the three. Just knocking down shots, getting to the free throw line. It was just a perfect storm. It was a perfect storm of execution and flow. And that's what we're going to need in terms of just being intentional on really hammering down that front line, boxing them out, and limiting them to one and done.
You brought it up earlier in the conversation, but talking about the league this year, even though Murray State has only got one loss, and
Yeah.
I believe they're about to wrap it up if they win one more game, only 4 games left.
Yeah.
You look at the standings, obviously players don't pay attention to it, but that's fun of our jobs. We can pay
Yeah.
attention to it. I mean, it's just nuts. What do you kind of make of the parity this year, and how excited does it make you to play in the conference tournament, knowing that realistically there are a lot of teams on a level playing field?
Yeah, I just think it speaks volumes to where our league was last year. And you lost some incredible players last year. And there were a lot of heavy loaded fifth and sixth year seniors on those rosters this year, just with NIL and the portal and all that, there's a lot of new bodies at the top when you see the consistency of, Murray. Well, they probably bring back the most, Illinois State, Belmont, just in terms of some continuity through their roster. But I think that's the difference when you see people with so many new players, but coaches that have had their system in now. When you see the emergence of a Bradley, and that's what's frustrating for us, is because we know we have 3 or 4 games that would right there where you could be in the top 4 or 5 of the conference right now with just a 1 or 2 possessions away from that. And so those are the things that coaches, kick that can around with a little bit, but you see the growth in your team and you understand that you go from 2 wins to being in a position where I feel like we should be fighting for 10 wins in the conference this year right now. But right now you just focus on that next one and give it everything you got, but you see the growth. And it just speaks volumes to what coaches are having to do at this level to stay competitive. And I think the parity there is for that reason. When you're not looking at the top, is because a lot of times we're comparing apples and apples in some cases and just trying to be creative and figuring out how to stay competitive.
Well, Coach, I mean, I tell you, we're at 6 wins right now, 4 games left, 10
Yeah.
wins still on the table if
Still
you
on.
get hot here. So we'll see how it goes. Starts on Thursday at Illinois State. Coach, really appreciate the time. Thanks.
Thank you.
You're watching Inside Saluki Athletics, presented by Northwind Roofing and Exterior. Northwind Roofing and Exteriors, guarding your home's legacy from peak to foundation, is what we do. With over 40 years of combined experience, Northwind Roofing and Exteriors will get the job done right. Call today at 618-713-1381. And our next guest representing Saluki Women's Hoops on Inside Saluki Athletics is Kayla Cooper. Kayla, appreciate the time. I know lately, I want to start with your offense. We're going to talk about both sides of your game, but
Okay.
the offense has been coming on for you lately. What has clicked, especially since the start of the season?
Definitely just letting the game come to me, and not forcing it. I feel like a lot of the time I'll just be like, okay, I need to get a shot, or we haven't scored, I need to do this, I need to do that. But honestly, just letting it come, letting it fly when I need to, or when, my teammates say shoot it, I'm gonna shoot it. And just trusting that everything's gonna work out and letting it come.
Now, one of my biggest talking points with Coach and
Mhm.
post-game interviews after wins, after losses, the last 2 weeks or so has been your defense.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I know we talked about it on a post-game interview, how pleased you are with your defensive development.
Yeah.
I think with offense, it's one thing if the shots aren't falling, you can say, okay, I need to get in the gym. I need to get more shots up. Defensively, how do you improve so much
Mhm.
during the season? It's not like you can go in the gym and simulate defense by yourself.
Yeah, honestly, that just starts in practice. You got to step up and guard the best practice player, and that's Peyton. He pushes us every single day. He's gonna push us, and it sucks guarding him a lot of the times because he's gonna make the craziest shots or the craziest moves to get by you, and he's always gonna push you to make you better. So just stepping up and guarding Peyton or Mari for sure, because Mari just loves to back cut everything. So just working on that, and just, try it again. Because there are times where I'm frustrated in practice because they keep beating me over and over and over again. And I'm just like beating myself up because I'm like, oh my gosh, like I know I can guard them, but today is just not my day. So just stepping up and guarding the best practice players and just even each other, when we go maroon against black, just playing my best defense, and just practicing and hopefully like translating it to the game.
No, you bring up the practice players. I'm glad you
Mhm.
bring those guys up because
Okay.
they're at every practice, just like you guys. And
Yes.
obviously, there's not a lot of credit to go around for them. So, just how
Yeah.
much do those guys mean? Not only the practice players, but also the GAs.
They mean a lot. I mean, they don't have to be there. They sign up and they want to be there. They want to push us. They want to make us better. And honestly, we're just super thankful for those guys and thankful for the time they give us and thankful for even the words, because sometimes they'll step up and say whatever's on their mind to help us out if we're struggling, or even when we're doing it, they'll give us positivity. So definitely give them credit to them because, like I said, they don't have to be there. They choose to be there and they choose to push us and they choose to be there at our games and stuff. So very thanks to them because they do make us better. And even after practice, making sure we get shots up or have a rebounder and everything, just making time for us. And it's super, super thankful.
Kind of changing gears here. Illinois State round 2 coming up this week on Thursday at their place after
Yeah.
a big win the first go round against them at home.
Hmm.
Taking a step back and looking at the big picture, we talked about it after that win, but how much it meant to you being able to beat Illinois State after what was a really disappointing end of the season against Illinois State last year. But for a player like you who played every game last year on a team that only won, I believe, 4 games, to what you guys have been able to do now and compete with some of the best in the conference. Maybe from your perspective, just from being on the floor, what are the biggest differences between last year and this year?
I would say just the will and passion behind what we do. I feel like there's more passion, there's more will to want to get better and want to win as opposed to last year. Sometimes we would come up in close games and then the other team goes on a run and we just drop and we don't come back. And I feel like this year, um, even if the other team goes on a run, we make it a point. It's said by Karis and a lot of other people, just every team goes on runs. It happens. So what we do is just focus on the next 5 possessions and keep going. Basketball is a game of runs. So just knowing and believing that this isn't the identity of the game, knowing that this is not the end of the game, knowing that we can just keep going, we got punched, punch them back, keep going, keep striving. And yeah, just keep playing. Don't let a run defeat us, honestly. And just the want to win, the want to finish out a game, and just still like learning and how to win and keep a win, all those things. Yeah.
One thing that coach has brought up a number of times, we talked about it with her on the show today,
Mm-hmm.
was taking the name off the front of the jersey and not
Mm-hmm.
being intimidated just because, say, it's Murray State and they're in
Right.
first place, or it's Northern Iowa, maybe a bad example because they've been really good this year and given us some
Yeah.
trouble. But
Mm-hmm.
taking the name off the front of the jersey, kind of walk me through that from a player perspective and how you keep your focus no matter who the opponent is.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, just sticking together and playing our game. I think that at the end of the day, they're just basketball players just as we are. So as long as we are doing what we need to do and what we have our backs for each other, I feel like we'll be fine. Like, yes, it's Murray State. Yes, they're the number one team in the conference right now. But regardless, all we got to do is get stops, put the ball in basket, and we could win. And I feel like just having that mindset of just like they're just basketball players and that they are beatable. All you have to do, like, you got to stop number one and number two. You stop them, we're in pretty good standings, if you ask me. But
Yeah.
I think just honestly just sticking together and playing together and just playing our game and not worried about the other team too much. Like, stop who needs to be stopped and then just have fun and play the game. It'll follow through.
Just from my perspective, it does seem like this team, this whole group, has a
Mhm.
pretty good perspective. They
Mhm.
haven't let success get them too high, and you guys haven't let failures get you guys too low. You have
Absolutely.
lost 3 straight right now.
Yeah.
How do you maintain that in a, admittedly very important, maybe the most important stretch of the season coming up with the last 4 regular season games?
I think just sticking together and just like getting in the gym, honestly. Like, we know what we need to do. We know what we need to fix. Getting in the gym, fixing those things and translating to the game and having each other's backs. I feel like these last 3 games, it's been tough. We haven't been able to finish out well. So kind of just going into practice, focusing, practicing hard and finishing through the whole practice locked in and focused and, just ready to play. I feel like that will translate. Um, yeah, just having the right mindset as well. Knowing that these 3 losses again aren't the identity of who we are. We're bigger than that. We've proven to ourselves as well as other people that we could win multiple games. We could beat a lot of teams. Honestly, I feel like we could beat every team in this conference. If we just keep it up, keep our mindset up, stay positive and stick together. So just sticking together and just playing our game, honestly. Yeah.
Kind of last thing for me, it's always apparent to me when you're having fun out on the
Mhm.
court after you make a 3, letting the celebration fly. We started to see that at the end of last year, but now a lot more this season.
Absolutely.
One thing that I think Janaya said in a post-game interview was, when things are going well, the team's just out there hooping. When
Yeah.
Kayla Cooper is hooping, what does that look like? What's that like in your head?
Um, Smiling, honestly. When I'm hooping, I'm smiling. So if you see me smile, just know I'm hooping, honestly. But just like shooting threes, letting it fly, not being hesitant, drive to the basket, being a three-level scorer, honestly. And just like as well as a facilitator. Like I feel like I'm a well-rounded player on offense and on defense. So just smiling through it all and just playing my best, like is honestly me having fun and just even seeing my teammates happy, like cheering for them, doing whatever I'm doing on the bench if the other people are in, like that's me having fun, just really just enjoying the moment, enjoying the game, enjoying playing with my teammates, enjoying seeing Coach Brown have a smile on his face as opposed to him yelling at us all the time. Coach Bond actually sitting down for a second on the bench, like yeah, as long as I'm smiling, I feel like that's genuinely me having fun and just enjoying, the moment and my teammates and everybody else.
It's the little things, right?
Yes, it definitely is.
Well, Kayla, appreciate your time. Great to catch up, and
Yes,
we'll see you
thank you for
pregame on
having me.
Thursday.